What up, peeps? Here we are Sunday, as we are, me and my boy Big Nasty come at you every Sunday, 6 o'clock there in California, 8 o'clock here in Texas. And today, man, we got an Olympian on our channel. This
Sir.
guy has come up the ranks, and now he's getting ready to walk that stage 2024. Mr. Harris is with us. I'm sure you guys seen the St. Pete Pro show, and he just went up there and showed them that how important a small waist was with a big old ass back, and just made it explode. I saw it all. If you haven't seen it, go on YouTube, check this brother out, follow him, make sure you cheer him on because he is here to make shit happen. And look out 2024 because he's coming. So we want to welcome you. Mike, you want to give us a little intro since you guys run a little neck and neck together there in California?
Yeah, definitely. Just want to say what's up to everybody, all our listeners out there. Say what's up to you, Rob, out there in Texas. California done cooled off a little bit for a minute. And we got a hot show today, man. We got I call him my little bro, man. His last name is Harris, just like mine. You know, we've meshed, we've done worked out and stuff together, and I've watched him grow. He's a true champion and a humble man, a humble champion. He's gonna be on that Olympia stage, man, September, man, doing his thing, man. He's been shocking the world, man. And he's been doing it as a very humble person, man. And I just want to say, hey, man, I'm so proud of you. But let's introduce him, man. It's Will Harris, but he goes by the name Tril Will. And you know me, I always want to know where you get your nickname first before we get into your story, Will.
Right on. The nickname, man. Honestly, I started my career. You know, I'm in the home building industry, so I started my career like 9 years ago. I was 23 in 2015. And one of my first coworkers that I met, you know, they always give you somebody in the field to trace, you know, to travel with and to kind of show you the ropes and show you what's going on when you're starting off the job. So I went with this guy named Spencer, man. He's out of Antioch. He's actually from LA too. And he's a DJ. He's an OG. He's in his 50s. And he was like, man, I give everybody a nickname when they come on to this department. And he was like, I'm calling you Thrill. You the Thrill. So that's your nickname. So, and he told me that like my first couple weeks at the job, and it stuck right back then. I'm like, you know what? You know, I got all these nicknames growing up with your folks, your day ones, your friends, your family, and it just stuck. And I said, you know what? Thrill Will. I'm gonna put it together. So that's where Thrill Will came from. And then we just ran with it from there on and changed the Instagram handle. And I was like, man, we're gonna put a story behind this name sooner or later. So, you know what I mean? They can sleep on it, but, you know, time gonna do what it does, and everybody will see over time. That's all it is.
It works, man. I love it because Thrill Will, man. Hey, when you step on that stage, man, and you open and just smile and you throw them poses in, it's a thrill for all of us, man. So I appreciate that. So
absolutely, I appreciate you.
You look good up there, young brother. So tell everybody else out there also that how did you get into the world of this fitness world of bodybuilding, etc.? How did that come into play?
Honestly, to keep it 100, I started working out back in high school, right? So I graduated in 2009. I say probably 2008. You know, me and one of my high school buddies, Chris Hall, he coaches up at our old high school now. We started working out, started doing push-ups, started doing the deck of cards, and we started noticing like, man, we young kids in senior year, we like, our muscles is growing. So we seeing it and we getting the feedback from everybody else talking about, oh, y'all been working out. So that triggered something to say, oh, we on the right path. So we kept going. And by the time I, graduated, we had muscles. We start thinking we doing something. First time you lift 260 in a bench press, you hyped. So that just translated into, obviously post high school, late teens, early 20s. It was just gym for me. It was gym, work, take care of my family, and kind of go home. And the gym was just like my time. At that time, I didn't have none of the diet discipline, but at the same time, because I was so young, my body was still fresh. I'm lean still. I'm eating what I want. I'm not eating 6 meals a day, so that's probably part of it. I'm working, and then I just kept that mentality of if I can just get 3 days in, no matter how busy my life is, a week, then I can maintain some sort of a physique. So that was like all my 20s, 3-4 times a week until I turned 28 and a half. And then I never thought I would actually become a bodybuilder. I played basketball, ran track in high school. So I used to go to the gym on Hammer Lane out here in Stockton and In Shape, and I used to work out all the time. And one time I had this couple come up to me, Mr. and Nisha, that was like, "Oh man, you ever consider bodybuilding?" They said, "Man, you want to compete?" I was like, I don't bodybuild. I just come here to work out." So that was like early 20s, mid 20s. Then fast forward, my significant other, I kind of pushed her to go to see them to get in shape. So she got with Nisha. And then when she was getting in shape, I was like, you know what? It's my turn to get in shape because I never did a diet, right? So I'm 233 at, I don't know, 28 and a half or 236 at 28 and a half. I'm like, man, let me bring it in real quick. And then that's when I got with them, did a little detox for a week. Man, I must have lost. I got to like 219 in like 5, 6 days on a detox. I said, boy, that was water, weight, and alcohol. So then we started getting in shape. You know what I mean? We started getting in shape. Big Mike, no, he was up there. We was working out, and I started getting in shape. And 3, 4 weeks later, they was like, "Man, you want to compete?" That's Mister asked me. He's like, "You want to compete? Like, you should think about it." And so another month had went by, and I hit January 2020, and I was like, you know what? Talk to my girl. Let me try it out. So we literally did an 8 week prep, and my first competition was in March 2020 out in Sacramento, California, at Spectrums Productions, and um, that was pretty much history. Like we did true novice, novice, and open, and we placed first in every class, and then we took a true novice overall. But then I was like, you know what? Let's run it back in 2 months at Muscle Sport, and then I took the open overall like 2 months later. So that told me like, oh, you got something. And then I'm getting the feedback from the pros backstage, like, you can go to nationals and get your pro card this year. That's what my coach was telling me then. But I wanted to wait a year, come undeniable. But yeah, that's kind of how I got started. I never thought I would even be a bodybuilder, to keep it 100 with you.
Right.
Because
Wow.
Will, you were a basketball player, right, in high school. You ran, like you said, ran track. Well, tell them how tall you are.
I'm 6'1" and a quarter.
You look
So I'm
taller
just
than
over
that.
6'1".
Yeah,
Some people think I'm taller. That's what you know what? It's funny because every time they weigh me in at these bodybuilding shows, that's what they weigh me in at. So realistically, I'm lean, right? When they're weighing me in, the fatty pads is less. So I'm water cutting. So I wouldn't doubt that I'm 6'2". You know what I mean? But that's just when they weigh me in and height me on those shows after peak week. But I'm probably 6'2" for sure.
Yeah,
and
because what happened is this: is that when you're dieting, you lose the fatty tissue in your feet too. So you go
Yep.
from that fat foot and it goes down, so you lose like a quarter of an inch for sure, and then we lose that water in our spine. We start to
Yep.
dehydrate ourselves, and we kind of shrink a little bit. So
Yep.
yeah, we all lose at least half an inch when it's time to let go and get weighed in for sure.
just want to
Yeah.
say hi. We got a couple people on our chat. Joe and QC Muscles back this week. We just want to say shout out to you guys. Say what's up. We gonna, might have some questions after we go for some more from Will. But Will's when you look at bodybuilders on stage, Will has genetics. He has genetics gifts. He has gifts. He is very gifted genetically. When you look at him and you see his height, because it take him a long time to fill in. You talking about 2020, Robert, to now 2024. He's stepping on the stage at the Olympia. That really don't happen like that. So to have somebody to be able in that short period of time to go from 2020 to 2024, being able to step on the stage with the top pros and have competed and has won some pro shows at that level, man, that's phenomenal, Will. Man, that's very that's I tip my hat is tipped to you. My thing is how did you prep to get to where you are so you stepping on that stage now in September?
I think the difference was, and I appreciate everybody in my fitness journey. At the end of the day, I had to, you got to put all the pride aside and the emotional flutter that happens on the back end aside. But at the end of the day, there's a different chapter and a different level. There's always another level, and then there's always another page to that storybook. So I feel like as I start to grow through this game, each prep was different. Every year was different. My personal life was different. Things shifted mentally, financially, physically, emotionally. You know, even in your faith. You know what I mean. So I think with just growth. Um, the time that we took to get here, we did it. I feel like in my heart, he made me do it the right way because I truly felt like, I know I got good genetics, but I also didn't rush the process. A lot of people like they want to go far fast. They'll do a little bit too much and then they burn themselves out. And it's like, do I even want to do this anymore? So, I've been watching the sport of bodybuilding since like probably when I was 21 years old. So even though I wasn't never considering doing the sport, and of course, Men's Physique's only been around since around 2014, 2013, Classic 2015. Those are newer divisions within the decade. Like that's around the time I really start paying attention, maybe a little bit before post high school, 2010, 2011. So I got to see like Kai Greenfield Heath, and then I got to see the big Ronnie Coleman documentaries and stuff. And you realize things take time, you know. Ronnie's a legend. Took him 6 years to get with the right people. Then once he got the recipe, they couldn't stop him. So I look at guys who did it for a long time, but also there's a flip side of that. Guys who did it a long time and stayed healthy. And that's when I look at a guy like Dexter Jackson. You know what I mean? So the concept of 6 months on and 6 months off, or even if it's a little longer over under on both sides, like competing and taking breaks in between, staying healthy. And then I took time in between my 4 years and a half. I didn't even compete in 2021, and I went pro in COVID year 2020. They kept delaying the shows. That was December 2020. I took 2021 off. I said, you know what, my body just need a break. And I trained for 3 months post show, took 6 months off. So every time that I took those breaks, it was like, okay, 2022, I'm ready to ramp it back up. You know what I mean? And we did a short prep too. And then it cost me because my pro debut, I placed last. A lot of people don't know, like I came out the gate in 16 out of 30, probably a true 16, in the middle of a third call out, but 32 people didn't feel good. Right. So then we prepped for 4 more weeks. And then that's when I was able to get in the winner circle. I got 2 second places, but we didn't want to push the envelope. I knew that I could be that much better, so we shut it down right before the Olympia in 2022 instead of trying to chase my tail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and then 23 took time off, and then hired another coach, moved over. That absolutely leveled me up and put me into a whole nother position in bodybuilding because there's definitely an experience level that at some point you got to make a decision, just like in the NBA and the NFL. Like if I'm trying to win, I got to go with one of these coaches right here. I don't have to, but most of the time when you see the successor race, guys they got their Steve Kerr, they got their Bill Belichick, they got their Phil Jackson. So at some point I had to figure out the best fit for me on the growth side and the health side. And that's really something that really leveled me all the way up because the discipline level, the structure, the focus, the plan detail, like it's bulletproof. So the way that I operate day to day, plus with normal life, I know what I'm doing every day for the most part. There's variables where I might have to, make something happen. But yeah, like my coach definitely leveled me up and he's maximizing my genetics and I'm not just being a potential person now. You know what I'm saying? So
So
that's a big
how
part of
many
it too.
pros do your coach got?
Honestly, I don't have a true answer, but I know he has at least just in my division, probably a handful. I would say pros in general, like I would say he has over 5 at least.
Yeah.
I know that my coach is best friends with another elite coach. My coach is Johnny Sebastian, so he also competed in men's physique as a pro and classic, and then he competed in 212, and he won the 212 Master Show in 2021 and at Legions in Reno, and that was his last competition. So. He has the experience of different divisions and then just being in the nest. But he has some other elite pros too, He has some other
Awesome.
elite guys. So it
Awesome.
just helps for sure.
Yeah. That's
The
awesome.
experience
That's
level.
awesome. So when you turned pro in the COVID times, you know how like you said, it affected everyone. During that time, was it many people showing up to the shows in general? You know what I mean?
Honestly, from the way that I can remember it, a lot of stuff was getting shut down. But for the shows that they kept around, those shows were stacked, but it was just
Okay.
different faces, like depending on, what sanction, if it was overseas, if it was in the States. But I wasn't thinking back, I wasn't paying attention to it heavily, but as far as when I did USA's in December, because it was the last show of the year, a lot of people that had their national qualification, they basically had to use it or they had to go back to the amateurs in
Yeah.
2021.
That was
So
my
I
next
think what
question.
actually,
Yeah.
yeah, I think what actually ended up happening, because I competed in 19 when I qualified and they kept pushing USA's out. A lot of people think that when they get their national qualification, it's for that calendar year, but it's for the full next year till
For the
December
next year.
31st.
Yeah.
So I always tell people do that research. But yeah, I did that, and so I think that show ended up being stacked. When I did USA's and I compared it to this USA's, our men's physique, we had almost 200 guys in Arizona when they moved it from Vegas or whatever in 2020.
Yeah.
So, and that was just in my division. In my class, it was probably like 20, 25.
Wow.
It was a lot of like bikini was like 400 girls. Like,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
Yeah.
oh no.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Wow. 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 Wow.
So I
So
feel like
can
the
you,
numbers went up.
yeah, can you give the audience your kind of full day of eating?
Absolutely. So it changes and it differentiates based off of what phase I'm at. But right now, I'm eating meal one is basically 80 grams of oats, and then we do, 2 whole eggs and a cup and a half of egg whites. Meal two, we do 60 grams of cream of rice, and then 2 scoops of protein isolate usually, not like
Okay.
whey.
Yeah.
Um, So what we do with that is we add water, we make it like a pudding compound or consistency,
Sure.
and then meal three is 185 grams of jasmine rice, and then 7 ounces of chicken, and then repeat that on meal five. Repeat meal two on meal four. So those 2 meals stay the same, and then meal six we do 7 ounces of 96.4 lean ground beef, and then a cup of greens on every protein based meal, every whole meal,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much it. So we got carbs the first 3 meals, and then the second 3 meals we go carbless. So actually, meal four is actually a regular protein shake.
Right.
So
So you guys out there who are listening to the Olympian here, you notice that as in the fitness world, bodybuilding world, however you want to look at it, is that we don't eat a lot of different types of food. You kind of get on a trend and you stay on those trends.
Yeah.
Now there are different ways to eat, meaning that you can have, for example, in my case, to share, kind of jump on the same piggyback with Will here, is that I'm getting ready for a show. At my age, I am eating similar, but I also will have like protein wraps. I have my lettuce, I have my chicken, I have all those things wrapped inside to just make my food look different, if that makes sense. I mean, my carb up days is before I train is popcorn. Popcorn is the most fastest absorbent product that you can eat that's going to get right into your system right now. And besides drinking it, it just breaks down a lot fast. So it's different ways of doing it. But the point is that the things that my boy Big Nasty and I have talked about, he's now reconfirming it, that it's just not a lot of all kind of different foods going different ways because you can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
When you can't keep up with all of the different food choices, then you get lost and you end up having cravings and you start to cheat. But when you have it right there and you're willing to sacrifice and knowing that you're eating for fuel and not for just taste all the time, then your body can change. You can do whatever you want to your physique. And now
Yeah.
right.
you've heard it from an Olympian. And so Mike and I was kind of on the same path as this guy who's now getting ready to walk the big stage.
Another
yeah, I
thing
mean,
I want to bring up, Will, before you go into it. We've always talked after all your show, every show, and when you're prep. And the thing is that I really tip my hat off to you is that you listen. You listen to your judges, your coaches, and you say, and when people tell you something and they say, hey, Will, you need to bring up this body part, this little bit, you go at it. When they said, hey, if you build up your back a little bit because you went from the back, and this guy, you see what he looks like, Rob, from the back.
I saw him on the tube. Yeah.
The work that he put in to do that, and we talked about it, and he's achieved it. But the thing is, Will, sitting there talking to him, you see how humble he is. He's not one of those guys that's out there, man. That's how great he is, and that's the thing about him. When you see champions, most champions are not braggadocious. They carry themselves in a different way. And when we talk to him, you can see his upbringing, how his upbringing is, how he is now as a person. and all the things that he does. This dude works. He works his job, and he's at the gym twice a day. Sometimes he's at home doing stuff, and he's always working. So, Will, for somebody that's aspiring to be a bodybuilder, what tips would you give them to start off and to get going?
I mean, honestly, because at the end of the day, it's all concept. You're going to do the same thing over and over, just like the food reference. 1,000 ways to get the same result. But I think when you're getting into this sport, um, it's like anything else. You got to be passionate behind it first, in my opinion. So if you're getting into it, you try a competition, you may do two, and you ask yourself, just like I do everything else. If I'm making a decision at the fit at the streetwear store or the casual, I'm looking at a casual clothing item, love it or leave it, right? You know, if I'm looking at a car, love it or leave it. If I'm looking at a house, love it or leave it, you know? So same thing, some people with their relationships. So it's that same concept. If you have passion behind what you're doing, it's like, do I love it or do I leave it? When I played sports in high school growing up, I used to love playing basketball. I used to like running track. Track was there, it was whatever, it was fun, but I love playing basketball. So I played it as long as I could until I got tired of it. I was like, oh, do I want to go to JUCO? Do I want to climb? I didn't want to make that climb, right? So I didn't love it because I wasn't going after it hard enough. I was just there because I was naturally talented. So with bodybuilding, it's like it grew. So now I can say like I'm passionate behind it. There's a love for the sport there. So that helps. And then honestly, it's your why and what you take out of that, right? Because there's life lessons in everything that you do that you're actually passionate behind. Because you're gonna learn a lot about yourself. You're gonna learn a lot on the journey. So, and that's me right now. I feel like I'm in some of those phases where I'm learning a lot about myself, but I'm also learning a lot about this journey and what it takes to be in this journey and um, how sometimes, you know, you feel like you got the world with you and how other times you feel very isolated, you feel alone. So there's definitely different aspects of it, but also it's you as a person. Isolation isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes you got things that you need to work on. So for me, I think with getting into the sport, to keep it simple, try it out. If you like it, stick with it, but don't try to go fast. Just pace yourself and make it make sense for your life at that moment. And then there, understand it, educate yourself, and understand the different phases of bodybuilding. Because a lot of times people see you when you stage lean and they don't know that, well, in an improvement season, if you're really trying to get better, you're going to do the opposite. You're going to eat uncomfortably at times. You know what I mean? Versus eating, or versus lacking in a deficit and not eating uncomfortably, like uncomfortably feel like you're starving at times. You know what I mean? So it's the double sided. It's the
Yeah.
double-sided sword, man. And it hurts each way, but you adjust each way, right? And then you're able to do what you got to do if you want it bad enough. But I would just say try it out. So and then hire a good coach too, because that's going to change the trajectory of the whole prep. You know, you want somebody who understands nutrition, and you want somebody who understands health, and you want somebody who understands balance, because they got to know when to give you a refeed, or when to give you a cheat meal, or when to tell you to pull back, take a rest day, drop the cardio, increase the cardio. They got to know. They got to know how to tweak the handles, tweak the knobs a little bit. So that's very important.
Yeah. It's and a lot of things also with that same answer is that sacrifice. You find yourself sacrificing more than you've ever thought you were ever sacrificing. That's a test of time when you have to say no to your loved ones and say, you know what, this one I can't do. And most families will understand it if you've explained to them about it. But you just got to believe that if this is something besides what Will has said, which is on point, it's a lot of sacrifice. It is not like you're just lifting weights and going home and going out with your fellas or with your girls. That shit don't work.
And he
Yeah.
said, just like you guys know, just like you said, there's a lot of isolation. And you learn, if you're not a selfish person, you learn that you have to be selfish in this sport in order to achieve certain things. And if
Yeah.
your loved ones or people around you don't understand that,
It's tough. That's
it's
tough.
tough. It's
Yeah,
tough.
that's
But
tough.
in order to be
Yeah.
where you at, man, both of you guys know that as well as I do. In order to be a champion, man, you have to be selfish. you know, and that's a tough thing for people to grasp and understand. But you can still be selfish and still be humble and still be able to be the person that you are. And it's like you said, as long as you have that why in front of you every day, you're gonna get accomplish the things that you need to accomplish.
Sure.
We got a couple more people that popped on here. Kev and Harmon. Harmon said you got 3 big black men, big black men with big black dreams.
He's crazy.
Hey, Harmon, here's the deal, brother. We live in the dream.
That's it.
We're living the dream. It's all good. This man we're talking to right now is on top of the world right now.
That's
so
yeah,
that's
I'm
what it's
chilling.
Yeah.
And with that, Will, how did you feel when you were on the stage and you won your last show and you knew you're going to the Olympia? What was that feeling, man?
It was honestly.
Did it come later?
It felt good in that moment, but it definitely hit later. But I think the biggest thing is because my family was, back in California. I'm in Florida. Part of me celebrating was here. You know what I mean? And I knew that they was probably going crazy, which they was. They was 20 deep in front of the big screen, like yelling. But for me, it wasn't a celebratory win because, my loved ones, my day ones, I can't celebrate it with them. And without them, what's the point of all of it? You know what I mean? So that was part of it. But in that same form, I was happy. It was a relief feeling because it was like, man, I put a lot of work into this. I put a lot of energy and effort. I know what I got. I know that we just have to we got to find it. We're going to find it. We getting there. Every time we step on, we in the mix. I've only competed 9 times in my life, 6 times as a pro. So I know that we have what it takes. And now we just need the word exposure, um, the word consistency. Those are words that pops up when it comes to my journey. The word strategy, you know what I mean? And just continue to go on that path of let's do it year in and year out, and have our season and just keep working, and we'll get the eyes and the respect that we want. But more than that, it was a relief because I pushed to get to the Olympia so much, and especially after 22, my rookie year, you get second place. You was there at one of them 2 weeks in a row.
Right.
That it's a certain level of, it's going to take me a minute to make my body look how I want it to look and be super undeniable to where they can't deny me. But I'm willing to take that time versus, jumping in 23 and then plus the coaching changes and all of that. So I'm happy, you know what I mean, that it's finally here at the same time. And I'm grateful because everybody has their story and their path on how and when that door is going to open. So I think more so now I got a chip on my shoulder. Because I go on stage in 60 days. You know what I mean? I go on stage in 60 days at Legions. And at the end of the day, I lost to Legions my first second place in 2022. So I have a personal, I got a personal vendetta. And my mentality is, it don't really matter who shows up in the world. Because just like I'm a man, they're a man, and we're gonna see that day who has the better package. The cool thing about me is nobody's seen me at my max potential yet. So we just gonna keep pushing, and we're gonna drive that. And if I could get that win at Legions, that's a qualifier for next year's Olympia. Way before I run it back at St. Pete's next year, and then we could just lock in on the Olympia for 2 weeks because we right back on plan once I walk off stage. Like we got a job, we got 8 and 10 weeks to stay in the fight.
That's
so
like Kobe, job's not done.
not even close. Like we just turning it, right back up. The plan just, the carbs just got reduced outside of my last phase. So I'm definitely excited, man. And I'm definitely grateful.
You're beaming.
I'm definitely grateful. Yeah, I'm definitely grateful, but I'm definitely like, I'm foot on the gas with it too,
Yeah, right
staying
on,
on my toes.
Right on. Right on, man. So I just got one last thing for me for sure is that have you experienced any setbacks, any injuries, anything that caused you to kind of go, what the hell am I gonna do with how am I gonna get to this show during a prep?
I would say injuries, yes. Setbacks, no.
Okay.
Because every prep that I've went through, you have something that goes weird with your body. It could be small and insignificant, or it could just be a nagging something. But I think this particular prep, I actually had a moment where, like during a leg day, where I actually messed up one of my knees, and I was like, dang. but I knew it wasn't something that was gonna keep me from competing because the time we was at, and plus in my head I'm like, okay, I can miss doing this part of my leg workout, this certain part of my leg workout versus missing a back day. Like that ain't gonna
Right.
cut it for my division. So that was a variable where I had to take a couple weeks, 2 weeks off the legs, and then throw them back in, and then do hamstrings and glutes versus quads because of the pain in that particular knee or whatever. But we figured it out over time. But I haven't really got any crazy injuries. I'm blessed to actually be able to say that, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
one thing I actually pride myself on training. I don't really. Big Mike knows, like, I have my days where I feel good, and there's just days where if I'm not feeling right, my stamina's low, maybe I didn't eat enough or my rest is off. Like, I'll try to go into that volume mindset with a little bit less weight versus doing the progressive overload, the usual heavy, or do a moderate, and just retract a little bit because I'm listening to my body that particular workout. And a lot of people
Absolutely.
don't do that. Even if it's reps, I might have a day where I'm doing 6 rep sets on everything because I'm just in pain, but I still need to get this work.
Yeah.
So listening to your body is one thing, to reduce injuries, and then your mechanics. A lot of people have, you know, there's people who understand, and then there's people who naturally understand. There's people that have poor mechanics, and then it just becomes non-safe at that point. So, I mean, that's a whole different conversation. Tempo, that's advanced. You get in the tempo and time under tension, that's an advanced weightlifter. But your mechanics alone, that can save you from getting those injuries. So
Do you
that's
have
what
a
I
ma-
pride myself on.
Do you have a massage therapist or anybody on your team that takes care of your body?
I use a guy named Vince for like lymphatic flushing and for scraping and for cupping to work on more of the inflammation. But as far as I also have this girl that me and my wife hire sometimes, Monet. She does some massages for us and things of that nature. But I don't have an actual body work person.
Yeah.
I am going to be working with somebody when I go to Vegas. So that'll be cool for that peak week. But I don't have anybody designated in this area that I've found yet, or have come across that really would be worth. I'll drive. I'm not going to drive 2 hours, but I'll drive. 45 an hour, and somebody within that really has the skill set because that
Yeah.
also helps. That
Yeah.
helps major.
I have a girl that my sponsor, she's hypoxy, and she's doing a flush on me right now where I get into the full suit, just lay there for 45 minutes and get all the inflammation out and flush me out. So my first time going through this, but after I did it a couple of times, my body felt like totally different. Like the vascularity in my legs and all that was coming into play. Is that your baby? Tell her to
Right.
come in the picture. Tell her to come in the picture. It's okay.
What
It's
you
okay.
doing?
So we
Right
can
here.
say hi.
It's
Come
right
here.
here.
Tell her to come in
Come
the
in real
picture.
quick.
Come
That's
on
it.
real quick.
Just come here.
Don't
Come
be,
in. They gonna say
hey,
hi.
don't be shy now.
Real quick. Just say a quick hi, 5 seconds. You ain't gotta stay. You can see on the camera, run. Come on. He trying to act shy now.
I say that.
Say, that's Big
What's
Mike
up,
He,
man?
and Robert.
this ain't the shy one.
He had to get his fix real quick. He got some lays.
Yeah.
Said,
But
man.
yeah, man. So that's good that you got somebody. Of course, I knew you would. I was just curious if you had one specific person that did all your body work every 2 or 3 weeks. You're doing hooking up with somebody and kind of going
Yeah,
from
I mean,
there.
my boy Vince hooks it up. He takes care of me for sure. That helps me because I have my own things that I do with stretching, and
Yeah,
then the salt baths help too. Every now and again, we throw in some cryotherapy. I have a sauna suit, so the gym got a sauna. I don't play with the sauna too much. As I've gotten older, it's more of a water in, water out. How hard am I working versus just trying to pull layers of water up front. You actually need a lot of that in your reserve, but at the end, we make it happen. If we got to
yeah,
turn something up and twist the knob, we can do
yeah.
that. There's a
Pull
lot
that,
of ways to
pull
do
that
that.
water because it's always laying somewhere just hiding until you go on
Yeah, for
stage and
sure,
you want to sweat.
for
So
And
sure.
yeah,
Vince is,
right.
and Vince is good. Shout out to you, Vince, because I've used Vince and he's a good friend too. So
Yeah,
he's very knowledgeable what he does. He brings out he has a few competitors, a few top notch people that he works on, man, and brings them out. So he's a
Yep.
good guy.
Cupcake. Yep. Cupcake on
Okay,
Instagram.
that's right.
Vince. He's on
yeah.
my page too. He's tagged all over my page. So yeah, he's a good one.
Awesome,
Definitely helps with the process for sure.
awesome. Well, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you? Tell them your schedule, small schedule you got coming up, and sometimes you got 2 shows in a row before Olympia, and just kind of give them a little insight if they want to come find you.
Absolutely. So on Instagram, ThrilWill_pro. On Instagram, that's my handle. And then I'll be doing 2 more competitions before the end of the year. So in September, we're going to do September 28th, we're going to be doing Legions in Reno. That's at the Sparks Convention Center. This is going to be my second time out there. Got second in 2022. So we're going to run it back, let the chips fall where they may. And then got some locals doing that one as well. And then October 7th through 12th, I believe, is Olympia. And I know October 12th, I'm going to be doing Olympia. So that's in Las Vegas, and it's the 60th anniversary. So we're going to try to break it in on that one.
Right on, man.
That's what we hyped about.
Right on. Well, we're very happy to have you here today, and for you to share some of your stuff that's going on in your world, which is kind of cool. I think the biggest takeaway for me from you is the fact that you are very excited about it. Passion is number one, and that you have constantly talked about taking care of family, which is like automatic, and I tell people all the time that bodybuilding asks for a lot, but it don't give a lot. So you know what I mean? So
that's real.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're so passionate about it that you're willing to do what you got to do because you enjoy that side of it, and what comes along with it is always just extra. So
absolutely.
So I appreciate you, and I wish you all luck in the world. It's always good to see a young brother coming up and, gonna go there and stand amongst the rest and go, here I am, and then make it all happen. So I wish you well. Good luck to you. And I'm sure Mike will keep me informed, but I got you on my Instagram too. So we'll be definitely.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Stay in touch. I appreciate y'all, man, for real.
Yeah.
And Robert, man, why don't you go ahead and tell them, man, how they can get a hold of you and how they can reach you and watch your transformation, man, because, hey, Robert's competing in a few weeks himself.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks, brother. I'm excited about it. This is my 5th year anniversary, so I hadn't done it in 5 years. Unlike you, my friend, you've done 9. This will be my 49th show.
Jeez,
I've been doing it since 1984, man. And so I see where you're at, and I'm just happy for you. But I'm the legend Robert Johnson. Also, I just created a new Instagram. It's called Ageless Protocol. And that Instagram will consist of only meal plans, things that I do, how I cook it, how I, arrange things for myself on a daily basis. And with that whole concept of Ageless Protocol, that's going to be my trademark. I've already bought the trademark on it. And so I'm excited about it. And that way we can give out some positive information to people that just want to eat right, but that think it's too difficult to do. It's just so simple. It's like me sitting here telling an Olympian that I eat popcorn before I go train because I know it's instant carb in my system, and it's light, and I can go and do my thing with my pre-workout, of course. But that's just kind of where I'm at with that. But Ageless Protocol will be my new site for anybody looking for food plans. And the legend Robert Johnson is where I'm showing myself doing my thing. So I'm all about trying to make it to the top too at some point. There is Mike. There is a Masters Olympia too, right? So hopefully I can qualify for that. That'll be kind of cool.
We want to see you on that stage as well.
That'll be kind of cool. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. So Mike, tell them where you're at, brother.
All right, first of all, I just want to say thanks, Big Will, man. Appreciate you, man. Little bro, I love you, man. I got you on today too, man, because we have some good talks, man. It's like looking in the mirror 30, 40 years ago, right here.
Yeah.
I'm living the dream, and I'm living the dream through you, man, because I see the growth, man. I see the faith. I see the family. I see the why. I see the discipline, and I see the consistency, man. I see all of that. And that's, when you sit up here and you see us 3, that's what you see, man. And you don't see that often. And man, I appreciate you, man. Sometimes people don't give you the pat on the back or whatever, but I always do, man, because I feel, man, hey, somebody like you that's as humble as you are, man, you're touching people because people are watching you every day, and the way you carry yourself, man, it's changing other people's lives that you don't even know yet, man. Not committing.
Right.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
You can reach me at Big Darkness 59 on Instagram, House of Darkness Fitness on Instagram, and also on YouTube at Big Darkness 59. Check out my workouts because I vary them. Mine is more on being able to function on a daily basis. I'm not competing anymore. I don't think I'll ever compete anymore. I would never say never, but I don't think so. But but we want to be able to function as we age. We want to be able to still do the things as we age, and that's what we're here for. As you grow, from we go 8 to 80. That's how we say it, 8 to 80. We want people to be healthy. We want people to eat right. We want people to do things that's going to make them better every day, and that's what we're here for, man. So, with that being said, man, that's all I got.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank our people who came on: Joe, QC, Mario, Kevin, and Harmon. We appreciate you guys coming on and giving shout outs. Once again, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and let us know what you guys think. Don't forget to go watch my boy. Go watch him on YouTube. As soon as you get off of this, just go to St. Pete Pro and watch him. Then you know why we're here with him right now. So nothing but love to you. Nothing but love to you, brother.
Thank you. God
we're going to say
guys.
peace out to everybody who's watching us.
Deuces.